Hey kids, episode 3, we're finally going to move into something steel related. What we're going to talk about is types of steel, types of material you're going to buy and use in fabrication. Once again, this is all stuff you want to learn before you even touch a welder, because this can help you with bolts or screws or anything. You don't have to be welding. First thing is some flat bar. This is going to be your number one thing. So this, for instance, is 1/2 inch by 1.5. When they say that, somebody says 1/2 by 1.5. You're looking 1/2 inch thickness, 1.5 width, and then your length of the piece is whatever this is, 30 inches or whatever. So that's when you go to buy material, what you're going to be based off: an 1/8, 3/16 quarter, 3/8 1/2 inch, 3/4, 1 inch bar is about what people are normally going to stock at a steel shop. So that's your flat bar. That's probably one of the most important ones. Here we got some square tube. This is what most of our world is built out of, is square or rectangular tubing. Once again, how they measure this is this would be called like a 2 by 2 1/8 inch. So 2 inches, 2 inches, 1/8 inch wall here. That's how you're going to go order that. Angle iron would be our third one. You hear a lot about angle iron in the world, structural world especially. This is a very small piece. This is like 3/4 by 3/4, 1/8 inch wall. That's how you're going to order your angle iron sizes. Round tube, used a lot in vehicular fabrication. You see, exhaust, same thing. I mean, they'll call it slightly different things in exhaust world, but how you're going to measure this is normally, if it is a pipe, they're measuring off the inner diameter. So an ID, you'll hear a lot about that. So your ID is your inside measurement, your OD is your outer diameter. Very important as far as sleeving things together when you go to order stuff, not to make a mistake there. That's going to get you started on round tubes. So this would be like probably a 1 1/4, I think, off the top of my head. The tape. Square bar, square solid. This is used a lot in fencing, railing. You can use it everywhere though. Vehicular fabrication. This would be a 1/2 inch square bar, or 1/2 inch square solid. And that's 1/2 inch that way and that way. If it's rectangular, normally then it becomes a flat bar. When people say square solid, they're talking about something that is equal dimensions both ways. Then you got round bars. This is quite a big round bar. This is like a 1 3/8 or 1.5 round bar, solid shaft. We call this round solid, solid round. Used a lot in equipment for pins, holding buckets together, stuff like that. And then you'll see it in railing like this size too, a lot. So you have hot roll and cold roll of all this stuff, I should mention. This is a cold roll piece. And you can see that that's a little shinier. It doesn't have like an armor on it. Hot roll is like, this is really hard to show you guys, but it's going to have a scale, a mill scale on it, which protects the piece, but it also makes it a little bit cruder than cold roll. This is used, like I say, more for like pins or things where it's got to be a lot more accurate of a diameter. The other one to mention would be rebar. This is used a ton in construction with concrete, piers and stuff. I use it a lot in my vehicles. it's cool to show something from the construction world into the vehicular world. Just has a really good look, especially when you paint or powder coat, patina this stuff. This is like a number 4 bar, and rebar is a little weird how it's measured. It's by 1/8 of an inch is one number. So a number 4 bar would be a 1/2 inch diameter. So that's 4/8 inches is a 1/2 of an inch. So that's how you're going to measure your rebar. Next thing I want to talk about, it's really important in the welding side, is your joints of how two pieces come together. So the most common one is a butt joint, and that's when the two pieces are just like that, and then you're going to groove that out with a grinder and create a groove weld. But this is called a butt joint, like that. Another one you're going to know is a lat. When it's like that, your weld can go here. A lot stronger than a butt joint, I should mention. You got a corner joint when they are splitting the corner exactly, and that gap in the corner is filled in with the weld. And then you have your T joint. This is extremely used in structural, architectural, everything. Pretty sure I'm forgetting one, but it's been a long time since I've looked at a book for this stuff. But that'll get you started in figuring out what you need for your project. Like I say, flat bar, solids, solid round, solid square, and your square and rectangular tubing is most of what we use for just about everything in our general smaller scale world. When we're talking structural, which is red iron, big scale building and stuff, you're talking a lot more about channel iron and I-beam, which is used a lot more in that world. For the vehicular stuff, you don't see it much, and for the architectural stuff, you don't see it much. But that'll get you started on what you need to know as far as buying material. You can buy material like this at Home Depot and pay like 5 times what it's worth, or you can go to your local steel supplier. If you're in a pinch, you can go to a hardware store like that and get what you need. If you're just starting out and wanting to practice, you can buy that stuff overpriced, just because it's in small quantities that you can easily transport, use, and play around with. So I'd recommend starting that way, but once you're really fabricating and doing something, go to your steel supplier. And then the joints are going to be really important in the welding side when we start figuring out how things go together. Thanks, guys.